Alright, so before I get into this video, I'd just like to ask that if you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. 96% of people haven't subscribed to my channel, and it would really help the channel a lot if you'd consider subscribing or at least leaving a like on my videos when you watch them. But let's get into it. So there is no answer for, or no one-size-fits-all answer for if modifying your car voids a warranty. There are some people who put a Whipple supercharger on their Mustang and make double the horsepower it did when it left the lot. There's other people who just put an intake on their car and call it a day. And a dealer needs to prove that whatever modification you did caused the issue to void the warranty. So if you put an intake on your car and the air compressor, the AC compressor goes out, most likely they're not going to void the warranty. They could try, but they have to prove that that intake is the reason that the AC compressor failed. And when one has nothing to do with each other, it's very hard to prove that. Now, keep in mind, this is not to be used in court. It's not legal advice. This is just my opinion and what I've seen. And my first thing that I want to talk about is a personal experience. Now, when I leased my 2020 SI, and I know I do a lot of Hondas on this channel, I've had a lot of Hondas, but this really applies to every car. When I leased my 2020 Civic Si, I went to the dealership that I got the car from that was going to be doing all the oil changes and everything like that, and I said to them, in your experience and what you allow, what can I do to my car that you would still cover it? And I was talking with the service manager, and he said, listen, as long as you don't build the engine, replace the turbo, do anything extreme like that, we'll cover it under warranty. Because we know this engine can handle a little more than what it makes from the factory, and you should have no issues. Now on that car, lifting the head was a huge issue. A lot of people that modified their cars ended up lifting the head and having to replace the head studs, and that can add up quick for a job. So I ran TSP Stage 1 Plus. I had a K&N intake on the car, not just a drop-in filter, it was their actual intake. And I had zero issues with the car. But it was nice having a peace of mind knowing that the dealership knew I had those modifications done and still decided they were going to cover the car under the warranty. And with that, there is no specific answer you're going to get from all dealerships regarding all warranty work. Now, if you put an intake on your car and go to one dealership, they may look at it, and this is personal experience, they may look at it and say, we're not even doing an oil change on it, and they hadn't even seen the intake. All they saw was a K&N sticker on my back window, and they said, no, we're not touching the car. So you get dealerships that they see an aftermarket sticker, assume there's aftermarket work done to the car, and don't want to touch it. You get other dealerships, maybe the service manager has a 1200 horsepower Supra and is a huge car guy and understands tuning and that some people do it right, and they'll actually give you a chance to prove that you did it right and you still had a failure. So if you're going to tune your car, first things first, try to ask the dealer. If they seem friendly, try to bring it up in a conversation before you've done anything to the car. And just be like, what are you guys okay with? Because I've had dealerships say, you can't do anything, we'll find a way to void the warranty. And then in my case, I had a dealership that said, you can tune it and put an intake on it and we'll still cover it. And I never had to use any warranty work, but if I did, it was nice knowing that they were going to cover it. Now, a big thing to consider, and I do have a whole video on this, but if you do major engine work, or if you replace a turbo and something happens to your engine, it shouldn't really be up to the dealer or the manufacturer to fix it under warranty. You modified the car, you made a ton more power than the car was originally making from the factory. You may have used a cheap part somewhere that ended up being the reason something failed. So you kind of have to take it into consideration that if you are going to modify your car and you're doing something that could cause a failure, and if you're modifying your car, you know what could cause a failure. At least you should know what could cause a failure. If you're running 35 pounds of boost through a 2-liter engine that's not designed for that, there's your possible failure point. If you're running a cheap turbo and the one from the factory is a slightly higher quality, if you're using an eBay turbo, there could be your failure point. And if that fails, it could cause a lot of engine damage that you may not think about. So you need to do things that aren't going to void the warranty if you can't afford to fix it if something happens based on your modification, because the dealer has every right to deny it. Now, I wish dealers were a little more transparent about what they will and will not fix, and kind of giving you the runaround when you bring in a car for any type of warranty work. I keep going back to the AC compressor. If you do engine work and blow out the AC compressor, or the AC compressor fails, are the two related? And that's kind of up to the dealer to determine. I hate to say it, but you may have to get a lawyer and fight the dealer on it. And I've seen that in the forums where people have had to get a lawyer, and then at the end of the day ended up spending more money for the lawyer than it was just to replace it by themselves. So if something does happen to your car, I just recommend that you take it to more than one dealer to get looked at, if that's an option, because you may get different answers from different dealers. And that's really what it comes down to. But don't expect a dealer to fix warranty work if it's clear as day that whatever failed was your fault. But let me know what you guys think. What experiences have you had? I know there's people making crazy horsepower numbers on all sorts of cars and have had zero issue. And then I know that there's people who do small modifications and something fails and the warranty tries to blame them. So let me know what your experience is, and I'll see you guys in the next one.